And this is The World of Work, and I'm your host, Shep Cohen. And with us this afternoon is someone who makes a career out of calming people down, making them feel good. And what did she do? She got here just when the show started. I'm panicking, where's she going to be? But we had a backup plan. If she didn't get here on time, Jean thought of this. We were going to call her on her cell phone. We'd have started the interview before she got here by phone. But she's here in the studio. And our guest today is massage therapist Diane Rose, who is a certified body worker and a healer. She's a person with natural abilities to understand the sources of the imbalances within an individual. Diane Rose uses these talents to help her patients rebalance their organs in distress. Using massage therapy, situ, and foot reflexology for 22 years, she's helped her patients in her private practice. One patient refers to a session with her as a dinner and a show. And that patient is here in the studio, and she doesn't know it, but she's going to be asking questions too. But we're here this afternoon with Diane Rose. I'm happy that you're joining us, and you know it's almost dinner time, so hopefully my listeners they're going to have a show, and they're going to have a show while they're having dinner. Diane Rose, thank you for being with us this afternoon.
It's my pleasure to be here and with your audience.
And you are a certified body worker and a healer. What exactly does that mean?
Well, we're not just physical beings. We're emotional beings, intellectual beings, and spiritual beings. When I go in to treat the body or to help the body to balance, I'm not only working in the physical form. I can see imbalances in the emotional body, the intellectual body, and also the spiritual body. I'm also empathic. So having the gift of empathy allows me to turn around and look at someone and see imbalances in the physical form and also in the emotional form.
And what does that mean to be empathic?
You read emotion. You're able to read the emotion. Each body organ not only has a physical function it does, it also has an emotion attached to it, intellectual thought, and a spiritual action. So with the gift of being able to read emotion, it gives me a clearer insight into the imbalances with any of my patients.
How did you know that you were empathic? Was there a certain point in your life that you realized you had something different than many other people do, a talent, I don't know if talent's the right word, but at what point did you realize this?
As a child, I just thought everybody did this. As I started to grow and became older into adolescent and then an adult, I realized that the gift became stronger and stronger. I was able to help people describe their emotional state that they were going through, help them to overcome it, and move on if they were stuck in a certain emotion.
What makes someone a successful body worker, massage therapist? What is the goal that you're looking for?
Well, first of all, is listen to the patient and know that that they are they have all these complete systems. Being able to help them, listening them, holding on to them, letting them release any of the emotions that are going on within them on a physical, emotional, intellectual, or spiritual level. It's being present, your intention.
Now, when did you decide that this is what you wanted to make a career of?
I think it found me. Everybody was telling me this is an avenue that you need to go into. You just had the natural healing ability.
And once that happened, it found you, did you go for training?
Yes.
Tell me, what's the next step or steps?
I have at least 10 years of training behind me, not only being a certified massage therapist, I am also trained in shiatsu. Now, shiatsu is just like...
That's the word I couldn't pronounce at the outset.
A lot of people can't. What is the shiatsu? Yeah. But shiatsu is just like acupuncture. A shiatsu practitioner uses the same subus that an acupuncturist would use to open up the meridian lines to allow the person to heal themselves, to get rid of blockages in the body, to open up the circulation systems, not only on a physical level, emotional, intellectual, and spiritual.
But you open these up with your fingers.
As opposed to needle manipulation.
But the same result or a similar result?
I would say with similar results. Similar results.
And what is foot reflexology?
Well, there are a lot of reflex points on the feet that refer to every organ in the body. Again, if you're working on the organ in the body, you're not only working on the person on a physical level, you're working emotionally, intellectually, and spiritually.
Now, you said that you trained for 10 years. What type of training? Who did you train with? How did you know where to train?
Well, I trained, first of all, as a CMT, a certified massage therapist. You have to have at least in the state of New Jersey 600 accredited hours in anatomy and physiology, and also massage at Shep. You have to know the body and how to drape the body and work with the body. Not only with a healthy body, with somebody who is in a state of disease. Not only that, the shiatsu, I was trained for that, and that was another 1,000 hours.
Now, shiatsu is something that not every massage therapist is expert in or has any familiarity with?
No, a massage therapist will generally get anywhere from 50 to 60 hours in shiatsu. It is in Oriental theory. It is Eastern medicine as opposed to Western medicine. So they give a very minimal overview of the Eastern modalities.
Now, you mentioned that you deal with someone who's in a state of disease. What exactly does that mean?
Well, rheumatism, arthritis would be a state of disease, depression on different levels, cancer.
And why would someone who has one of these diseases go to you as opposed to a physician or someone else?
We work in association with physicians. They would come to us because we're opening up anyone that has any of the itises, that's too much acidity in the body. So we open up the body to allow the acidity to move through the system, to calm the system down and relax it.
Now, we have with us also someone who came with you. Maybe if you can come a little closer. I have the microphone on. And your name?
Lucille Dedekind.
Lucille. Why would you go to someone like Diane Rose?
Well, my first experience with Diane, I had a really, really bad back problem, lower back problem. I had a lot of pain. And I had a girlfriend that said, listen, I have an appointment with a massage therapist, and I'm tired of hearing you complain about this, so I'm going to give you my appointment. She said, and I just want you to know it's a really coveted appointment. I wait a month at a time for this appointment. So she said, but she might tell you things when you go there. And I said to her, oh, I know. They all tell you the same thing. One hip is higher, one leg is longer, your posture's off. But I'll go anyway. And I walked in, and Diane looked at me, and she said, oh, if you don't change your diet and your lifestyle in 6 years, you're going to get really sick. And I was like, well, that's not the one leg longer than the other.
Now, she said this when she looked at you?
When she looked at me, and she said, your body is totally acidic. What have you been doing? And it just happened to be right after New Year's Eve. So I think, between the red wine and the pasta sauce and, coffee, I said, okay. And can I tell them the story?
Yeah.
And so she said, you really need to change your life. She said, and I'm having a hard time breathing, and I can't move on the left side of my body.
This is what you told Diane?
She told me.
Or she told you this?
And I thought...
Or she looked at you and she said that?
Yeah, and I said, oh my gosh, this lady's going to pass out, and I don't know how to help her. And I said, do you want me to get you some water? And she said, no. She said, your father's here. She said, I know he's not here with us on Earth anymore, but your father's with us today. Does that make sense to you? And I kind of looked at her and I thought, okay, well, my father had had a stroke and he was paralyzed on the left side, and he spent the last week of his life breathing. And at that point I said, okay, would you mind if I lay down now so I could have my massage? So I laid down, and she put her hands on my right shoulder, and she said, oh, by the way, he wanted you to know that he wanted to wait until you got home in the house with the baby before he left, and he heard you talking to him when he was dying. And at that point I said, oh, this is totally dinner and a show. And, you know, I'd never had another experience like that again with anybody else. And I wasn't afraid. And it was really almost more calming, because then after, you know, we talked through what she had told me. And it was true. My father spent the last week of his life breathing, and I had my son on a Sunday, and Sunday afternoon my father passed away. So then my girlfriend said to me, oh, you know, she can't really even see very well when she's looking at you. And I was like, how could that be possible? So I went for a specific reason, and I ended up going back over time for different reasons. Even though the massage was very therapeutic, I did change my life. I did what she said.
And you did change your diet?
I did change my diet. I totally alkalined myself and did everything she said. And she also told me that that pain was a product of grief, and they had to integrate the grief. And I haven't had that pain since I've seen her. So.
And you saw her more than once?
Oh, yeah. Then I would go, well, I saw you pretty much every month for quite a long time. Then I brought my children and my husband and every friend on earth, because everybody has something. Everybody has something in their life. And, you know, she's very confidential. And when you go in, you know that she's taking care of you. And when you leave, you know that you have your own work to do, but you're doing it in conjunction with her. And as she said, you know, with a physician as well. And I had been to a physician many times.
For your back?
For my back and for blood work. I was tired. You know, I didn't know. I'm young. I couldn't figure out why I was so tired all the time. And she pinpointed it right away.
Which was?
That I had too much acidity in my body and that I wasn't alkaline. So then, you know, you stop drinking coffee and you stop drinking tea and eating ketchup and pasta sauce and abundance of red wine, and you eat a lot of green leafy vegetables. And you feel better immediately. No sugar. You know, it's not an easy thing to do, but
Did anyone else tell you about diet before? Any doctors?
never. Not in that depth. Never.
You can see it in the body if the body becomes too acidic. You can see it.
What do you mean you can see it? What do you mean by that?
You can feel it. You can sense it. It's really a gift. If I put my hands on someone, you can feel it. You can feel it in the joints. You can feel it in the movement of the current of the entire system. You can see, even doctors are aware of this. They use these type of tools. They'll look at your tongue. Is there coating on it? Are there dots back there? They use it as, this could be strep. They'll look at your skin type. Are you pale? Are you warm? Are you cold? I know nurses that will constantly say in the pediatric ring, if they have a woman coming in who has red hair, they have to be warned for cardiac, when the child is being born. They watch everything just like we do.
Now, did you know by looking at her that she was too acidic, or did you know by touching her?
Both.
Okay.
Both. You can see your body is a blueprint to what is going wrong with your system. If you just want to be sensitive enough to look at it, you can look at anyone and you can see that if the adrenals are off, you can see if cardiovascular is off, if the lymphatic system is off. I'm not a novice to this field. I use my tools I learned through Eastern medicine.
And what tools are those for Eastern?
Oriental theory.
And what is
Again, the coating of the tongue, cracking in the tongue. We check for the pulse beats in the wrist to check each organ. This is standard in Oriental theory. You'll check to see the gait, if you're right-handed, left-handed, if you turn the head to the right or the left, the wrinkles, if the skin is dry, if it's moist, if it's hot. No more than a physician would use to make a diagnosis on an individual to know what tests to further use.